My boss handed me a performance bonus check last spring, her smile as polished as the glass walls of our San Francisco office. The number, $5,000, was a slap in the face, a fraction of the millions my work had earned the company. My name is Lena Harper, 35 years old, a data analyst at Horizon Financial, a fintech giant promising inclusive lending through AI. I'd spent 5 years crunching numbers, uncovering patterns that saved the company fortunes. But that bonus wasn't a reward. It was a bribe to keep me quiet. I discovered Horizon was rigging its algorithms to trap low-income borrowers in debt, pocketing millions in illicit profits. They thought I'd take the money and shut up. They didn't know I'd risk my career, my safety, and my future to expose their fraud and make them pay. I grew up in Oakland, the daughter of Jamaican immigrants who'd fought their way out of poverty. My dad, Winston, was a mechanic, his hands always stained with grease. My mom, Grace, was a schoolteacher, her voice soft but unyielding. They'd faced predatory loans in the 90s, nearly losing our home to sky-high interest rates. Numbers don't lie, Lena, Dad used to say, but people twist them. That stuck with me, driving me to a master's in data science at UC Berkeley. When I joined Horizon in 2018, I saw it as a chance to use numbers for good, to help people like my parents get fair credit. Horizon was a Silicon Valley darling, its sleek headquarters all glass and steel, with ping-pong tables and free kombucha on tap. The company's mission, inclusive lending through AI, felt like a dream. My job was to analyze borrower data, optimize loan algorithms, and ensure approvals were equitable. My boss, Cynthia Reed, 42, was a rising star, her sharp suits and sharper ambitions setting the tone. She mentored me, pushing me to think big and own the room. My team, 6 analysts, including my closest ally, Priya Sharma, worked long hours, fueled by Horizon's promise of disrupting old-school banking. We were a family, or so I thought. The first hint of trouble came in 2020, during the pandemic's economic fallout. I was combing through loan approval data, my laptop humming late at night, when I noticed anomalies. Low-income applicants, especially Black and Latino borrowers, were approved at higher rates than expected but with predatory terms: 20% interest, hidden fees, short repayment windows. The pattern was stark: hundreds of loans, millions in revenue, all targeting the most vulnerable. I flagged it to Cynthia in a meeting, my slides projected on a conference room screen. The algorithm's overexposing high-risk borrowers, I said. We need to recalibrate. Cynthia's smile was tight. It's just aggressive optimization, Lena. The board loves the numbers. Keep it running. Her tone was final, but her eyes lingered, like she was gauging my reaction. I tweaked the algorithm, lowering risk thresholds, but the changes were overridden within days, the code stamped with Cynthia's digital signature. I didn't push back, not yet. I was new, eager to prove myself. But the seed of doubt was planted. By 2022, the anomalies had grown into a pattern I couldn't ignore. I started digging deeper, accessing restricted datasets during late-night shifts, my desk lit only by my monitor's glow. The coffee machine in the break room became my lifeline, its hiss a constant companion. What I found wasn't a glitch. It was deliberate. Horizon's algorithm was coded to target low-income borrowers, locking them into debt cycles while the company reported record profits to investors. Internal memos, buried in encrypted folders, revealed the truth. The CTO, Mark Ellison, and Cynthia had designed the system to maximize high-risk revenue. One memo from Mark was blunt: Q3 depends on subprime approvals. Keep them flowing. I felt sick. My parents' struggles flashed in my mind. Late-night arguments over bills, mom's tired eyes. This wasn't just data, it was lives. I confided in Priya over takeout in her apartment, showing her the overridden code. This is intentional, I said, pointing to Mark's signature. Priya, 33, with a quick laugh and a knack for statistics, hailed. Lena, this could be illegal. Wire fraud, discrimination, you name it. You're playing with fire. I knew she was right, but anger burned hotter than fear. "They're preying on people like my parents," I said. "I can't let it slide." I started building a case, working in secret. I used a personal laptop, encrypting files with a password only I knew. I copied code snippets, internal emails, loan records, thousands of data points showing Horizon's fraud. One email chain between Cynthia and Mark was a smoking gun. "Push the subprime approvals to 30%, Mark wrote. "Wall Street's eating it up." Cynthia replied, "Done. Bonuses secured." Another memo outlined a $50 million revenue boost from optimized lending, code for exploitation. I estimated Horizon had overcharged 10,000 borrowers, pocketing $15 million in illicit profits. I needed to know who was hurt. Using loan records, I identified victims, starting with Maria Delgado, a single mom in Fresno who'd taken a $5,000 loan at 22% interest. Her files showed missed payments, then repossession of her car. I called her, posing as a researcher, my heart pounding. Horizon promised it was affordable, Maria said, her voice breaking. "Now I can't get to work. I'm drowning." Her story wasn't unique. I tracked down 20 others, teachers, small business owners, retirees, all trapped by Horizon's predatory terms. Their losses ranged from $2,000 to $50,000, their lives upended. Maria agreed to speak out if I could protect her identity. Horizon's security tightened. IT began monitoring login times, and Cynthia started hovering, asking about my workload. One morning, she called me into her office, the city's skyline glittering behind her. She slid the $5,000 check across her desk, her smile rehearsed. "You're a star, Lena," she said. "Stay focused, okay? Big things ahead." It was a warning, not praise. That night, my work computer was remotely wiped. IT called it routine maintenance, but I wasn't fooled. I'd backed up everything on an external drive, hidden in my apartment's air vent. I needed an outside ally. I contacted Javier Morales, a reporter at a Bay Area investigative outlet, whom I'd met at a tech conference. Javier was 40, with a quiet intensity and a track record of exposing corporate greed. Over encrypted signal chats, I shared anonymized data, loan terms, victim profiles, internal memos. "This is massive, Lena," he said. "But we need names, faces, proof of intent. Can you get more?" I promised to try, though the weight of his words settled heavy. I was crossing a line, and there was no going back. I recruited Priya, despite her fears. She fed me Mark's meeting schedules and access logs, helping me pinpoint when leadership discussed high-risk portfolios. I planted a voice recorder in a conference room, legal in California's one-party consent law, before a quarterly strategy session. The tape was gold, Cynthia bragging about milking subprime borrowers, Mark laughing about dumb clients who don't read fine print. I sent it to Javier, my hands trembling as I hit send. He connected me with Rachel Kim, a lawyer specializing in whistleblower cases. Rachel was 38, calm but fierce, with a history of taking on corporate giants. "You're exposing systemic fraud," she said over Zoom. "But Horizon will retaliate. You ready for that?" I wasn't sure, but I nodded. I told my boyfriend, Alex, a graphic designer with a steady warmth that grounded me. We sat on our balcony, the San Francisco fog curling around us. "You're doing this for Maria, for your parents," he said, his hand on mine. "Don't stop." His words anchored me, but fear crept in. Horizon wasn't just a company. It was a machine with lawyers, PR teams, and billions at stake. I deepened my investigation, hacking into a secondary server with Priya's help, a risky move, but we used a VPN to cover our tracks. We found a hidden folder labeled Project Apex, detailing a plan to expand predatory lending to new markets, targeting 50,000 more borrowers by 2024. The projected profits, $100 million. Cynthia's notes were explicit. Minimize regulatory exposure. Bury complaints. I also uncovered a list of problem clients, borrowers who'd questioned their terms, including Maria. Horizon had flagged them for aggressive collections, hiring debt collectors to harass them. One, a retiree named Clarence, had suffered a heart attack after relentless calls. I added his file to my evidence, rage fueling every keystroke. Retaliation came fast. Cynthia reassigned me to a dead-end project, analyzing outdated datasets. A clear demotion. Colleagues whispered, sensing I was on thin ice. My team's group chat went quiet, and Priya warned me about a new IT audit targeting unauthorized access. I met Javier in a crowded Mission District talk area, passing him a USB drive with the Apex files. "This is enough for a story," he said, his eyes scanning the room. "But you're a whistleblower now. They'll come for you." I knew he was right. That night, I found a note slipped under my apartment door. "Back off." No signature, but the message was clear. I leaned on Alex and my parents for strength. Over dinner at their Oakland home, Mom's jerk chicken filling the air, I told them everything. Not the details, but the stakes. Dad's face hardened. "You're fighting for us, Lena," he said. "Don't let them scare you." Mom hugged me, her hands trembling. "Be safe, baby." Their pride gave me courage, but I started varying my routes home, checking my rearview mirror for tails. Javier's article hit like a grenade. Fintech giant accused of predatory lending, front page on the outlet site. It cited internal sources and victim stories, naming Horizon and quoting Maria anonymously. The stock plummeted 12% in hours, social media exploding with #HorizonScam. Cynthia called an emergency meeting, her face a mask of calm. "We're under attack," she said, her eyes flicking to me. "Stay loyal, and we'll weather this." I nodded, my pulse racing, knowing the CFPB was already circling. Rachel filed a whistleblower complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, attaching my evidence. Code, emails, recordings, victim files. The CFPB launched an investigation, subpoenaing Horizon servers. I was called to testify, my identity protected as a whistleblower. In a sterile DC hearing room, I faced a panel of regulators, my voice steady as I laid out the fraud. Horizon targeted vulnerable borrowers, I said, clicking through slides of loan data. They knew, and they profited. Cynthia and Mark testified later, their denials unraveling under scrutiny. Maria spoke, her voice shaking but resolute. "They took my car, my stability," she said. I trusted them. The room went silent, the weight of her words sinking in. Horizon's empire cracked. The CFPB fined them $25 million, with $10 million in restitution for 12,000 borrowers. Cynthia and Mark were fired, facing civil suits for fraud. Horizon rebranded as Nova Credit, but its reputation was ashes. I was blacklisted in fintech, my resume radioactive. Colleagues I'd called friends ghosted me, and Priya, fearing for her job, distanced herself. The isolation stung, but I wasn't alone. Alex proposed that summer, slipping a ring on my finger under the Golden Gate Bridge. "You're a hero," he said. I didn't feel like one, just a woman who'd done what was right. I started a consulting firm, Harper Analytics, helping nonprofits use data for social good. Maria visited my office, bringing her daughter, who hugged me. "You gave us a second chance," Maria said, handing me a card I later framed. Clarence, the retiree, sent a letter, his handwriting shaky. "I'm recovering, thanks to you." Those words rebuilt me, brick by brick. Cynthia emailed me months later, a weak apology. "It was business, Lena. You wouldn't understand." I deleted it, her words hollow. She'd built glass walls of greed, transparent yet unbreakable, until I'd shattered them. Horizon's fraud wasn't just numbers. It was Maria's car, Clarence's health, my parents' past. I'd fought for them, and won. Last week, I spoke at a data ethics conference, my voice carrying to a packed room. "Numbers don't lie," I said, echoing Dad. "But they can heal, if we use them right." The applause was loud, but Maria's card, taped to my desk, was louder. I wasn't just a whistleblower. I was a builder. crafting a world where truth outshines greed, and that no corporation could take away.